Yes, is it fear driving this crypto market? And I guess the follow-up question would be, can Bitcoin rally into the new year?
Hi, Ashley. Great to see you. Well, I think this is just a healthy pullback. Bitcoin over the last 3 months is up 60%, up more than 150% in 2023. And I believe that Bitcoin is poised to be the standout asset in 2024. We're going to see large capital flows into Bitcoin with the imminent approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. And I say imminent because we've seen over the last 2 months regulators and issuers basically clearing their calendars to just focus on Bitcoin meetings. And the SEC is now working with more than a dozen companies to iron out thousands of pages of guidance and disclosure documents on these spot Bitcoin ETFs. So it appears that the wheels of government and Wall Street are focusing on delivering Bitcoin to the masses. And then we also have the halving coming up around April when Bitcoin's issuance drops from 900 coins to about 450 per day. So I'm very bullish on 2024, Ashley.
Yeah, we use valuation models to try to understand what is the value of Bitcoin today. We all know what the price is. It's what it's trading for on exchanges, which operate 24/7. But the real question that we need to understand, investors need to understand, is what is the value? We use 4 different valuation models. Today, it has the price of Bitcoin currently valued between $100,000 and $210,000 per Bitcoin. We also apply an S-curve analysis to look at the long-term adoption of Bitcoin. Currently, about 40% of U.S. households have already allocated and own some form of cryptocurrency today. We are on track for 90% adoption by 2029. Once we hit that 90% adoption, prices could go as high as $1 million a coin, because again, Bitcoin has that limited supply, which is a key feature of this technology.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
Don't forget to join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Now guys, we are 5 days away from the new year and about 15 days away from the spot Bitcoin ETF decision. Now, we know at the beginning of the month, we always pump. We know they need Bitcoin as collateral on the 5th. Then we have CBOE is going to be launching Bitcoin and Ethereum futures. We have the spot Bitcoin ETF decision, and then we also have the government decision on whether we're going to have a shutdown. Plus, we have the drums are beating. But this is all a distraction for who? The Fed. Even though the Fed's Jerome Powell stated there's going to be rate cuts in 2024, we know they're not going to be early on in the year. And we already see the bond market has priced them in. So that means we're going to have a big pullback at the beginning. But guys, we know it's a presidential year. So even though we're going to have a big pullback at the beginning, the market is going to be flat because we know they can't afford the market to be bad due to the elections. Remember, the Hegelian dialectic wouldn't work. The people vote based on the economy. Even though the economy is crumbling, the sheep don't understand that. Only thing they're looking at is the stock market and their 401k. So if you ask them, the economy is doing good. But guys, we know it's the Fed that's propping it all up so they can land us in the 4th Industrial Revolution. And by the time the masses wake up, the machines would have taken over. The robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
The whole implication here, is it not, is that the Fed pulls this off. We have this soft landing. The Fed cuts multiple times, maybe a handful, because it can, not because it has to. Because inflation's come down closer to target, and then Jay Powell feels, the Fed chair, feels comfortable enough that they can cut rates because inflation's come down close enough to target.
Yeah, and it should cut rates, because as inflation goes down, you don't want the real rate, which is the rate they set at Fed funds minus inflation, to keep on going up. So you need, just to keep the same stance of tightness, you would want it to go down. And by the way, I think a lot of people say, the only reason the market could go up is if the Fed actually lowers, tremendously. That's not right. What was bullish about Jay Powell's December Fed meeting was showing flexibility, saying, listen, if I see a slowdown, I'm lowering rates, because the last thing you want to happen is him to be as stubborn on the way down as he was on the way up 2 years ago. And I think that it's more than whether he lowers rates or not, but he's prepared to lower rates. That is what I think is the great comfort level of the market. The Fed, in a way, has the economy's back in 2024 in a way that you weren't so sure of, let's say, 3 or 6 months ago.
Lawmakers needed this weeks ago. So we are heading into 2024 with, two separate government shutdown deadlines in January and February. And, lawmakers are no closer to just nailing down the basics.
What's the incentive for deal making?
Keeping the government open is a huge priority, for everybody at this point, except maybe hardliners in the House. I think, seasoned Republican appropriators know that this is not a winning message to shut down the government, and trying to get policy concessions or spending cuts or something like that. It's almost never a winning message when you're the party that's blamed for it, particularly heading into an election year. Basically Congress should be able to keep the lights on and stay functional. But time and time again, we see the same fight where, the two sides are warring over funding. And right now, Speaker Johnson's in a really tough spot, just as former Speaker McCarthy was in, where he's being pulled in one direction by, his right flank and pulled in another direction by moderate.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.